Shalom, shalom. First off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to YAHAWAH BaHashem, YAHAWASHI BaHashem, Ruach HaKodash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors, salutations, and blessings to the men that are preaching the gospel of YAHAWAH BaHashem YAHAWASHI in all sincerity, diligence, and truth. And peace, grace, and blessings be upon the house of David, which is the elect men, women, and children. So this is just going to be another news and prophecy video, all right, linking the current events that are, happening throughout the world to biblical prophecy, all right, so that the elect can be warned, all right, and with that warning, be moved to build that spiritual ark, all right, which is, repenting, staying in the spirit, keeping the faith, all right, and doing the things that are commanded of us, of YAHAWASHI, so that we may be found worthy to escape all of these things that are coming upon the earth, which are the plagues of the Most High Yahweh through YAHAWASHI, all right, upon the wicked, all right, which the Lord said, was going to happen before the return, before his return, all right, as it also is written in 2nd Esdras, the 15th chapter. Let's get that real quick. In the that 2nd Esdras 15 verse 1, we start at the top. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." Okay, so the things that are written, right, as Paul said, the things are written aforetime are written for our learning. And these things are faithful and they're true, meaning what? That they are going to come to pass, right? And this is why, being adamant about watching for the things that are happening in the world is so important, so that you can be, aware, all right? So that you may not be caught off guard, that you may not be a slothful servant of Yahawah BaHashem YAHAWASHI. As YAHAWASHI said, blessed is the servant whom his when his Lord come, he finds, so doing what? Doing the work, being active. Verse 3, it says, "Fear not the imaginations against thee, and let not the incredulity, which is the unbelief of them, trouble thee that speak against thee." Okay, because really when you speak against what we're saying, you're speaking against Yahweh and YAHAWASHI. And as it is written, the Lord is not mocked. So the things that we're saying, thus saith the Lord. It's not coming from our own will. It's not coming from our own desires, but it is the purpose, all right, that the Heavenly Father has purposed. And as it is written, no one can stay his hand, all right, and he will do all of his pleasure. Verse 4, "For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." Okay, and this is what we're seeing happening, play out in real time. The plagues that the Heavenly Father, BaHashem YAHAWASHI, is bringing upon the earth. All right, and they're coming in those various different means that the Lord said he was going to bring them. Right, I believe in a book of Ezekiel talks about the 4 sword judgments. Right, let's pull that up as well. I think it's 14. Right, Ezekiel chapter 14 verse 21. It says, "For thus saith Yahweh power, how much more when I send my 4 sword judgments upon Jerusalem, the sword, the famine, the noisome beast, and pestilence, to cut off from it man and beast." All right, and the Lord did that during this time, right, the time of the Babylonian reign over Israel, but also, as we know, we are in the time of Babylon the Great. Okay, and the Lord is not only just visiting Israel, right, but as it is written, we just read, he is visiting the world. All right, he's bringing plagues upon the world. Because why? Because the hurtful works are exceedingly polluted the whole earth. All right, and their hurtful works are fulfilled, meaning what? That it was only going to be for a certain time that the Lord was going to allow the wicked to continue to rise and continue to pollute the earth before he responds, before he recompenses them upon their own ways. All right. And that's what we're seeing happening right now. So I got a few articles. Lord willing, I can make this as concise as possible. And I'm not going to read, through every single piece, but give the overview. All right. Lord willing, get the edification out. So this is coming from Reuters. Came out today, which is December 18th, 2023. It says Red Sea attacks force rerouting of vessels, disrupting supply chains. Okay. And this is a very, very important geoeconomic news, because this area where these various different shipping freights are now being rerouted is going to cause a trickle effect throughout the world when it comes to the supply chain and things, especially over here actually really all across the world. Can't even say it's especially, but things all across the world has been a lot more expensive, within the last few years. And now you add on top of it a shipping, crisis over there in the Red Sea area. That's going to just expound on the elevated prices of goods and services. So let's read it. It says mounting attacks by the Iran-aligned Yemeni Houthi militant groups on ships in the Red Sea are disrupting maritime trade as leading global freight firms reroute around the Cape of Good Hope to avoid the Suez Canal. The group said it launched a drone attack on 2 cargo vessels in the area on Monday, the latest in the series of missiles and drone strikes on shipping, which it says are a response to the 48ers' assault on the Gaza Strip. Several major freight companies, including MSC, have begun to sail around Africa instead, adding costs and delays which are expected to be compounded over the coming weeks, according to industry analysis. All right. So these costs are going to be compounded within the coming weeks. So right now, the food and the goods that you have in your local stores, these foods and goods came, from this area, this region, and not all of it comes from this region, right? Because it says right here about 15% of the world's shipping traffic transit via Suez Canal is the shortest shipping route between Europe and Asia, right? So about 15% of the shipping traffic goes through the Suez Canal. So if they're saying that this is going to be something that is going to compound costs and delays over the coming weeks, that's going to affect 15% of the world shipping traffic transit. Okay, and as it keeps reading, it says the war between 48ers and HAMAS, which began on October 7th, has sent shockwaves through the region and threatened to cause a broader conflict. And as we, continue to see that things are only escalating more and more, it's not, de-escalating, right? It's not becoming closer and closer to an end of a conflict. It's only actually broadening the conflict. Things are only going to become more and more strenuous upon the world. All right, and as the scripture says, the Lord is the one who is let's pull that up. Isaiah the 13th chapter. He is the one that's mustering the host. Isaiah 13 verse. Let's go to Isaiah 13 verse 3. It says, let me start at 2. It says, lift up a banner upon a high mountain, exalt the voice of them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. And that's what we have been doing. All right. Through the preaching of the word of Yahawah Ba'Shem YAHAWASHI, we have been lifting up this banner. All right. Pulling down the strongholds of this devil, revealing the wicked. All right. And in doing that, the elect is hearing this song, and they're hearing the voice of Yahawashi. As Yahawashi said, my sheep hear my voice. They are repenting, and they also are entering into that labor of, praying unto Yahweh Bashim Yahawashi to speed up these days, right? Because the Lord has respect to his people when they cry unto him for deliverance, not especially the ones who are crying to him through the name of his son, Yahawashi. Those prayers are being heard, all right, in the heavens. Okay. So reading on, it says, I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in mine highness. Yep. Hey, these angels, they're doing their, doing the work of the Lord throughout the world. All right. Working on the minds of various different kings, causing commotion, causing uproars. These things are all happening in the spirit. All right. They all are I should say, being commanded in the spiritual world, but they're being played out in the physical. Right. For instance, when you read in the book of 2 Kings, I want to say it is, let's see if I can pull it up real quick. 2 Kings, is it the 22nd chapter? Oh, Salaki, I think it might be 1 Kings 22nd. Let's see. Right. 2 Kings chapter 22. I'm going to go straight to the point. Verse 19, it says, and he said, hear thou therefore the word of Yahweh. I saw Yahweh sitting on his throne, and all of the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And Yahweh said, who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And one said on this manner, and the other on that manner. And there came forth a spirit, which is, the angels, and stood before Yahweh and said, I will persuade him. See that? And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all of his prophets. And he said, thou shalt persuade him and prevail also. Go forth and do so. All right. So this was a vision that the prophet Micaiah, right? Micaiah said that he saw in the heavens, in the spirit world, a council between the Heavenly Father and the host, the angels. And that council was to do what? To have something play out on the earth, which was to have Ahab go to Ramoth Gilead to fall in a military combat. But in order for that to happen, it had to do what? The prophets of Ahab had to basically lie to Ahab and tell him that he was going to go prevail if he goes to war, right? And that's, end up happening. The prophets, because of this lying spirit that was put in the mouths of the prophets, they went and told Ahab that this was, that he was going to prevail in war, and he went to go fight, and then ultimately he ended up dying, because the ultimate purpose was that the Lord wanted Ahab to go up and fight at Ramoth Gilead and die. So in the same like manner, the Lord has a purpose to do what? To gather up the host, right? Let's read back in Isaiah the 13th chapter, verse 4. It says, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of the nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. Okay, so Yahweh mustereth the host of the battle, meaning what? He is gathering them up. And all these things that you're seeing happening right now between these various different countries, 48ers, the Palestine, the Houthis, Russia, NATO, America, Iran, etc., China, North Korea, South Korea, all of that is ultimately being done by the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahawashi. All right. So let's keep reading. It says, did I finish this? Yep. It says the Red Sea attacks have shown the ability of the Middle Eastern paramilitary forces backed by Iran to upset global trade at a time when Tehran and its proxies are positioning themselves against the United States and the 48ers, right? Which is all biblical prophecy, because ultimately what's going to happen is Tehran, which is an ally to Russia, which pursuant to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, it tells you that Russia is going to be a guard unto them. All right. And you already have, the 48ers are already, basically fighting Iran through proxy militaries like Hezbollah, like the HAMAS, and like the Houthis. But it's going to get to a point, and you have America over there as well, and they're being attacked. Various different naval ships are being attacked by drones by the Houthi military. So all of that is accumulating to what? To this World War III, which is prophetically spoken of to bring in the destruction of Babylon the Great and to usher in the kingdom of heaven, which is the kingdom of Israel on earth. Right? So it says, combined, the companies that have diverted vessels of control around half of the global container shipping market. Avoiding the Red Sea will lead to higher costs due to longer travel time, Swart said. So this is going to have a trickle effect upon the masses of the people, right? It's not just these specific global containing shipping freights that are going to have the issue, but that issue always gets passed down to the consumer. And a lot of these shipping freights that are being affected are shipping what? Oil. Okay. And once oil it goes up, everything goes up because this world runs on oil. That's why even America is, its dollar is so powerful in the world, because majority of the world trades in the US dollar. That's why it's called the petro dollar. But you have a lot of countries, namely the BRICS nations, that are trying to move away from doing trade with the US dollar. So it says oil major BP temporary pause all transit through the Red Sea, and oil tanker group Frontline said on Monday its vessels will avoid passage through the waterway. Signs the crisis was broadening to include energy shipment. Crude oil prices rose on those concerns on Monday. All right. So you have that's going to once again have a extreme negative effect on the price of gas, the price of your heating, right? Everything. Because if oil goes up, then these ships that are shipping things around the world, what are they using in order to power their engines? They're using oil. So that's going to go up. So if that goes up, then that means that their overhead price, their overhead fees are going up, and therefore that they're going to have to try to make that money back by raising the prices of the goods that they're actually are shipping. And that's anywhere from food to clothes to, lumber, things that are needed in order to build things, everything. Okay. It says war risk insurance premiums are on the rise naturally, but as vessel gets rerouted around Africa, shipping supplies will be tighter as cargoers travel longer. That would put rates under a strong upward pressure. And you already have inflation right now at a 40-year high. And that's before that's before this price of, this price gouge because of these rerouting that's before that actually takes effect. So it says later on Monday, Norwegian energy group Equinor said that it had rerouted a few ships carrying crude oil and liquefied petroleum gas away from the Red Sea. The company declined to say how many vessels were affected. Tanker firm Euronav said it is avoiding the Red Sea until further notice. The Houthi attacks were also forcing companies to rethink their connections with 48ers, with Taiwan's Evergreen Marine saying on Monday it had decided to temporarily stop accepting 48er cargo. Serious threat to international trade. The shipping attacks have prompted the United States and its allies to discuss a task force that would protect Red Sea routes a move that U.S. and the 48ers' arch foe, Tehran, has warned would be a mistake. Okay? So this would be a mistake to do. Visiting 48ers on Monday, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said no group or state should test America's resolve. Now, you want to talk tough, and that's where it really is, it is all right now. It's really just a lot of tough talk, or a lot of bark and no bite that Babylon the Great America is doing. Because a lot of countries does not view America as a force to be reckoned with. And that's because of what? That's because these other countries now have similar capabilities that America has. And on top of that, aside from the actual technological advances that these weaker countries now have, gained, their mindset is still of a mind of being at war, right? When you look at the American people in their mindset, they have become very, very weak-minded, to the point where, which is a segment into the another article I have. If I can find which one it is. Right here. The U.S. enters 2024 with the smallest military in over 80 years. Active duty troop numbers sink to less than 1.3 million. So you have a lot of Americans don't want to join the military in America, which is once again something that is prophesied. Let's get that, and that's in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 31. It says, "The mighty men." Actually, you know what? Let me start at 29. It says, "The land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of Yahawah shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant." Now we know that this isn't speaking about the ancient Neo-Babylonian Empire, because Babylon, all right, the actual land of the ancient Babylon is inhabited at this very moment. Okay, it's in the area of what is called modern day Iraq. So the purpose that the Lord has, that he has against Babylon, this is speaking about prophetic Babylon, aka Babylon the Great, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant, is speaking about America. Okay, and how is he going to do that? He's going to make this place desolate without inhabitant through war. All right, and he's going to have these other nations actually shoot missiles on America, and then YAHAWASHI himself with his host is going to come up with the chariots and also visit Babylon the Great, and with the fire that YAHAWASHI has as well, he's going to scorch this place. When it's all said and done, America is going to be unrecognizable. It's not going to have, and you're not going to have any buildings, any structures, any landmarks, anything. All right. The whole landmass of America is going to be turned into a desert. And that's why it's going to be without inhabitant, because nothing is going to be able to survive here. Why do you think you got guys like Mark Zuckerberg making a $100 million fort? Basically, you call it a fort, $100 million fort with an underground bunker over there in the land of Hawaii. Why didn't he make it in some place in the actual continental U.S.? Because they know, right? And just how they showed you in that movie, Leave the World Behind, the upper echelon of the elites, they have insider information about the calamity that Babylon the Great America is going to be hit with. But the thing is, them trying to go underneath the ground or try to go into space, that in itself is prophesied that they were going to do that. So I know I'm going to get this here. Let me before I get that, let me get this in Amos, since I just quoted it. Right? Amos chapter 9 verse 2. It says, "Though they dig into hell," see that? It says God's judgment unavoidable. All right? And this is something that you elites need to get into your mind. But Hey, the Lord said that your pride has deceived you. Okay, so even though we're telling you it, you still believe that you can avoid the judgment of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, but you can't. You never will be. All right. It says, though they dig into hell, thence shall my hand take. Then shall my hand take them. And them digging into hell is digging into the earth. It's not talking about some nether world, right, where there's where there's demons and Satan, with a pitchfork. All right, there's not no Greek mythology place called Hades. All right, it's speaking about the actual ground. When you go into it, right, that's why it says here, Sha'awal, right, Sha'awal, which is, let me see something real quick. All right, let me go back. It says the grave, hell, the pit. All right, in the pit, and when you read in the scriptures, the pit represents the land, right? I believe that's in 2nd Esdras, the 5th chapter, where the Lord said that his favorite pit is Israel. So that's land. So when you read it, as you see here, it's spoken about as the grave. And what is the grave? The grave is underneath the earth. When you get put 6 feet under the earth, you're going where? And that's what? A grave. So though they dig into the pit, the land, the earth, that's what the scriptures are saying. So though they dig into the earth, thence shall my hand take them. And that's what? These underground bunkers. Because they're going to try to dig into the earth to try to avoid the Most High's judgment. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And how are they trying to climb up to heaven? With their space stations, right? You got Elon Musk with his SpaceX. You got the Virgin, rocket, right? You have, and that's something that ESAU speaks about constantly, right? Trying to create a space station hotel and, hotels in the space, colonizing Mars, these various different types of aspirations of having a society on outside of the earth. And really in their mind, only the ones who are, and they showed you that in that movie Elysium with I think that's with Mark Zuckerberg or Matt Damon. Not Mrs. Mark Zuckerberg. Mark I can't remember his last name. But I think it might be actually Matt Damon. That was the main character in that movie. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. And Elysium. Can't even spell it. Elysium. Right. 2013 film. Oh, Matt Damon. Okay. Let's see what they have. Right. So this little. He said, yes, we could build a real world Elysium eventually. So this little thing right here, which was outside of the Earth in space, this was a colony or whatever that only really the super rich elites were able to live on. Okay. And that's what they, this is the types of ideologies that this devil has. While everybody on earth was living in, the whole earth became a third world country. It became a third world earth. And how it ended up that way. Because Esau, the devil, he destroyed it. He destroyed the earth. But this ain't gonna happen. All right. You can have these types of ideas and these types of plans, but that's not going to come to pass. All right, because the Lord said what? Though you dig, all right, though thy climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. So you're not going to be able to avoid the judgment of the Lord. Okay. So let's read. Let's see. Like I said, I want to read this whole thing. It says, in the Red Sea, we're leading a multinational maritime task force to uphold the bedrock principle of freedom and navigation. So they're speaking, as if they got everything under control. But meanwhile, you got this happening, right? You got the U.S. entering 2024 with the smallest military in 80 years. Salakia, that's where I was trying to go. So let's go back here to Jeremiah 51, verse 29. It says, "And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitants. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might have failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken." Okay, so the America, who at one point was the biggest, baddest, most dominant military in the world, now you have, in a short amount of time, right? In a short amount of time, you have them entering into 2024, a time of war, all right? Because that's where you're seeing all over the world. It's just war. You're seeing that America has the smallest active military that they've ever had before. And that's going to cause what? That's going to cause, which we also have been prophesying about, warning about, that there's going to be a draft. Okay, there's going to be a draft because you already have a record low number of recruitment, and then on top of that, you're at war, and then this war is going to escalate, as we've been reading, and that's going to cause more people to die. And not only just is going to escalate, but you got multiple different war fronts, and that's something that is crucial. It's not like you're just fighting one country in one area. America has many different areas on the earth that they're trying to push their interest in, or protect their interest. So you got over there in the South China Sea, you got over here in the Middle East, you got over there in the Baltic Sea, right? You got over there in South America. So you got, and then on top of that, you have to defend your own country, right? You have your own landmass. So you're spread thin. You're spread too thin with too least amount of military men. Because why? Because it says, as it says, the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. Okay. So I can keep going to this one. It says the United States is set to enter the 2024 with the smallest military in more than 8 decades and faces one of its greatest challenges as it tries to boost recruitment from Gen Z, Pentagon officials said. And these Gen Zers, they're a bunch of weirdos and a bunch of effeminates, right? That's why it says they have become as women. Under the $886 billion annual defense bill passed by Congress this week, total active duty troop numbers will fall to 1,284,500 next year. That is the lowest total since before the U.S. entered the Second World War in 1941, and officials said there should be a national call to service. And what does that sound like? Okay, that national call to service is going to be a national mandate to service. Recent recruitment targets were missed in the Army, Navy, and Air Force, although the Marine Corps and the newly established Space Force reached their goals. Okay, blah, blah, blah. It says that number understates the challenge before us as the services lowered end strength goals in recent years, in part because of the difficult recruitment environment. Why is there a difficult recruitment environment? It's because they have forborne to fight. It says Vazzarini said the all-volunteer force faces one of its greatest challenges since its conception in the 1970s when the draft ceased. So the 1970s wasn't that long ago. Okay, that's only about 50 years ago. And then now all of a sudden, right, because this word has been going out, because the Lord is visiting the earth which he made, because we're at the end of Esau's age, now something that they just got rid of 50 years ago, which they thought was going to be something that they would permanently have to, never use again, because they thought that their time on top was going to be forever. But as the scripture says, the triumphing of the wicked is but for a moment. 50 years is not that long ago, right? So now they have to now think about instituting a draft again. But first they're trying to do a national call for service. But once this war becomes more and more, hot, once it becomes once it gets more and more conflict involved, they're not going to be able to just to get volunteers. They're not going to be able to just be okay with just having volunteers, because a lot of people don't want to go to war. As it says here, it says military recruitment says Gen Z, those born between 1997 and 2012, generally have a low trust in institutions and have decreasingly followed traditional life and career paths. They have fewer relatives who served in the military, leading to less inclination to serve. 2 decades ago, 25% of young people have never thought about joining the military, but that figure is now more than 50%. Okay, so now more than 50% don't think about joining the military. This has led to a disconnect between military and a large share of society. Youth of today are not saying no to what the military has to offer. They simply don't know much about military service. While the picture of the current recruiting environment is acutely difficult, the Defense Department and the military services are working together to resolve issues, improve processes, and expand awareness of the many opportunities military services offer. Yeah, and and the way that they're trying to, resolve these issues is what you had earlier this year. They had, I think it's in this article that I have here, which says the U.S. Army faces TikTok mutiny as Gen Z recruits whine about low pay, shitty food, and fitness tests while on bases in uniform. And of course, they got a Jake here, and he probably an effeminate ass Jake anyway. But I want to jump to a particular point here. It says it gives a woeful impression of America's fighting forces on to potential recruits, which is likely to cause further animosity towards TikTok from critics. Politicians from both sides have concern about the platform's links with China and accuses it of pushing subversive anti-U.S. propaganda. The Army expects to end up about 15,000 short of its targets of 65,000 recruits in 2023. Similarly, the Navy is short, blah, blah, blah. Where is this at? I'm trying to find a particular point. Salakia, is it in this one or was it in the other one? Oh, here we go. It says the traditional allure of military recruitment is failing to register with Gen Z. Last year, only 9% of young people ages 16 from 21 said that they would consider military service, according to the Pentagon data, sliding 13% before the emic. The military has faced criticism for using, quote, woke advertising campaigns focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as drag shows for troops to appeal to Gen Z. So if you got to use something like this to appeal to a generation like this, what does that tell you about this generation? Okay, it tells you that this generation has become what? They have became as women. Because your military, you want somebody that is strong. You want somebody that has a mindset to be, stable. You want to just call it what it is. You want men, right? You want men, and not just a man as in you having a rod, but you want mighty men. You want physical and mental fortitude men to be the men that's in your military, right? That's why even the scriptures, speaks about King David and the mighty men of valor. All right, you don't want soft ass, weak ass, pussyfooting ass men in your military, because they're not going to be able to defend you. At the end of the day, it is men who are your best defense. But we are in a society, in a time period more so, where the men are what? Weak or effeminate. But at the same time, the Lord is so bad, he has men like this. Well, he didn't have men like this, but Esau, Edom being in rulership, and him being a damn demon, right? And pushing sodomy and pushing all these, wicked ass ways, right? His wine, the wine of his fornication. So he has polluted the minds of people. But now the Lord is raising up war, and because men in this society in America are become as women, they don't want to go to war. But that's not going to stop the war from coming. Okay, that's not going to stop the way the sword from coming, to how the Lord said he's proclaim ye this amongst the heathen, prepare war. That's not going to stop the war from coming. So what do you want to have? You're going to have men that are weak, men that are effeminate, men that are sodomites, that are in your military trying to defend your country. And it's not going to work. Okay, it's not going to work. And on top of that, this one's talking about also the physical fitness. Right here, it says around 23% of soldiers registered as obese in 2021. You can't have obese men running, in your military on the front line. They're not going to be physically fit to fight. It says not only are recruits not fit enough to join, their fitness is also declining once they are in the ranks, leaving officials scrambling to install weight loss and exercise regimens. So, hey, all this is just showing you how through you are. All right. Speaking about America and its hegemony, there's no that you're so far fallen that you can't be healed, as it is written in Jeremiah the 51st chapter. Right? Let's go that to real quick. Jeremiah 51 verse 8. It says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain? If so, she may be healed. There's various different positions to where Babylon is destroyed, man. This is just one of them. Economically, moral, physically, militarily, socially, everything, man. It's just completely destroyed, and you can't heal it. It's too many pieces of the Jenga that has been taken out. And it showed you that in that movie, Leave the World Behind, that once the alert system came on the TV, after that the Jenga pieces fell, because all it takes excuse me, all it takes is for that one specific piece to get pulled out for the whole thing to fall down. And that's what we're seeing happening right before our very eyes. The Lord is consistently pulling out these pieces to the point where it can't be fixed. And soon enough, when one more piece gets taken out, that's when it's over. Game's done. Okay, you got this here. Pope approves blessing for same sex couples if they don't resemble marriage. So, hey, this is the beast at work. The false prophet, all of Esau's institutions are just coming out, and they're being revealed as not being upright or godly at all, man, but really satanic. Okay. It says Pope Francis has formally approved allowing priests to bless same couples with new documents explaining a radical change in Vatican policy by insisting that people seeking God's love and mercy shouldn't be subject to an exhaustive moral analysis to receive it. But the Lord deals with morality. All right. That's why it tells you, hey, Esau, he's just being revealed. If you can't see this, then clearly you won't get caught up in it. You read this here in the book of, let me get this in the NLT. Revelation chapter 17, verse 4. It says, the woman, which we know the woman is America, and the woman wore purple and scarlet clothing and beautiful jewelry made of gold and precious gems and pearls. And in her hand she held a gold goblet full of obscenities and impurities of her immorality. All right. Of her immorality, her obscenities. This is an obscene thing for you to claim to be somebody or an institution that is supposed to be God-fearing. But here it is, you over here saying that you approve of something to bless something that the Lord hates. That's completely blasphemous, man. You're completely showing full and proof that they oppose everything that is called the Most High. All of his institutions, all of his ideologies that he pushes is completely against what the Heavenly Father, all right, and His Son deems as righteous. And you're not going to go untouched. It tells you that in the book of Sirach, that what? It'd be marvel if one goes unpunished. Let me pull that up. Okay. Is that 16? Yep. Sirach chapter 16 verse 11. If there be one stiff-necked among the people, it is marvel if he escaped unpunished. For mercy and wrath are with him. He is mighty to forgive and to pour out his displeasure. As his mercy is great, so is his correction also. He judgeth a man according to his works. And what are the works that Esau Edom is pushing out in the world? His works are as it says, what? And his right hand of falsehoods. All right. He frameth mischief as a law. So you're going to get judged according to your work. The sinner shall not escape with his spoils, and the patient of the godly shall not be frustrated. See that? So you're not going to escape with all of the wickedness that you've done, all of the lies and the injuries and the riches got by deceit that you did. You're not going to escape with all that. The Lord says that in the book of Job. You swallowed it down, but you won't vomit it all back up. And these are the ways that the Lord is going to do that: by war, by death, by destruction, by the famine, by the sword, by pestilence. And the things that are happening in the earth right now are proof that the Lord is visiting the earth and He is judging you. But yet, what are you doing in the midst of all this? In the midst of World War III popping off, nuclear war being spoken about, America being shown as not being able to defend itself, not being able to sustain itself. And I know that the Pope isn't an American, but it's all a part of what? Esau's rulership, his hegemony. Okay, because you had the three unclean spirits, right? Which went out of the mouth of the false prophet, out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast. The false prophet is what? The Catholic Church. And the Catholic Church is mainly a westernized, it's a westernized institution, Western culture institution. And this is what they're pushing out upon the world, man. And our people, you got a lot of our people that are in Catholicism. And then because you're down with this, what's going to end up happening? You're gonna get caught with the destruction that the Lord brings as well. That's why the Lord said what? Depart from it. Okay, separate yourself from these things, so that you may be found blameless in that time. And only the elect are going to separate. You're going to have a lot of our people that's going to go down with Babylon the Great, with America, because they love to have it so. Okay. So we touched on the war, we touched on this, right? We touched on that, and then you got this here, the pestilence. CDC sounds major alarm as new highly contagious CV variant grips the U.S. So you got pestilences that are still, increasing. You got the H1N1 virus that now is being transmitted to humans. You got this whole cough, right? For pneumonia thing that is attacking children. Where is that one at? Right? Fear grips doctors around the world as new China virus stops responding to all antibiotics. So it says the Daily Star has been reporting how strange unidentified virus has been causing chaos in China for weeks, with the world on high alert over fears of new mimics could be on the way, and no official confirmation as to what it is. See that? And that's what the Lord said was going to happen during this time. Everything that we're seeing, the Lord said was going to take place. It has already reached Europe, with Denmark and Holland confirming an influx of cases, with the World Health Organization on high alert and monitoring the situation. Now, remember, the World Health Organization, they have been given power by these sovereign countries that if a certain an emic takes place, that they get to decide what the steps of your country does. They get to decide lockdowns. They get to decide quarantines. They get to decide all these things, man. Whether or not you'll be able to, move from one place to another. So in the World Health Organization, like the WEF, like all these other ones, they're what? NGOs, non-governmental organizations, meaning they're not elected officials. They don't have any ties or any, allegiance to actual America or Britain or any of that. They are institutions that really are controlled by the elites of this world. So, hey, that's something else and to continuous, to be on the lookout for. But all these things ultimately is what YAHAWASHI said was going to take place. So let's get this here in Matthew 24, verse 7. Actually, 6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars." Let me start at 3. "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world?" End of this age. What is going to be the sign of the end of this age? And Yahawashi answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and shall deceive many, which we got happening. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, which we see going on. See that ye be not troubled. For these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Why is that? Because you still got the mark of the beast that has to be mandated on the earth, right? And that's what we always say, that World War III is not going to go nuclear, right? Globally nuclear until the MOTB is mandated. And that's something that they're still having in the works. Don't think that just because it's not being spoken about, that the CBDCs and the embedding of the MOT of the CHIP, right, the Internet of Things, don't think that's still, they don't have that still going down. Okay, it says, "For nation shall rise against nation," which we see going on in all parts of the earth, "and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences," diseases, "and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows." Okay, so these are the beginning of sorrows, and the sorrows are only going to increase. They don't begin and then just stop, because as the scripture says, it's like a woman that's in travail. All right. Let's let me get that. 2nd Esdras 9 verse. Go to the point here. Verse 5. It says, For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And how do we know that the end is manifest? Because we know the signs of the end, and the things that we're seeing, right, that are happening in the world are the signs of the end. Therefore, the end is manifest. That's why Paul said, "Hey, our salvation is nearer than when we believe. It's high time to wake up out of sleep." This is not a time to go to sleep. This is not a time to relax. This is not a time to become lackadaisical, to be distracted with the things of this world. This is a time to be sober and vigilant, because every day can be there could be a catastrophic turning point. That's how close we are, that each day that passes could be a day like and leave the world behind, where one day everything was normal, the next thing it wasn't. And you don't want to be caught naked. You don't want to be caught unaware. Because if you get caught unaware, then your mind is not stable. And if your mind isn't stable, then you start to make desperate moves. And when you make desperate moves, you end up making the wrong move. Okay, you end up doing the wrong thing. And a lot of people are going to end up in that position because they're not aware. They're not paying attention. They're not taking heed unto the signs. But hey, we, Lord willing, we are. And because we're watching, as Yahawashi said, watch and pray, we can be found worthy to escape these things. All right, so one more scripture and I'm going to close it out. In the book of 2nd Ezra 16, verse 40, it says, Salakia, verse 37, it says, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slacked, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child comes forth, they slack not a moment. And that's something that we can clearly see is happening. These plagues, they're not slacking a moment. It's once again, you have now this going on, which is going to cause a great trickle effect in the world economy, in the supply chain. This is another contraction, so to speak, like a birth contraction. This is another birth contraction. All right. Salaki, where was it at? So it says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. So sorrows, remember we just read, is the beginning of sorrows. Here it says the sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So everywhere you look is going to be sorrows. Supply chain, sorrows. The economy, sorrows. Pestilences and diseases, sorrows. These things are increasing. Nothing is happening to where you can see or look at him like, oh no, that's gotten better. Nah, these things are only getting worse. Verse 40, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to thy battle. That's what? Being able to endure unto the end. Make you ready spiritually, mentally. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding should be the stability of thy times. Praying, fasting when need be. Increasing, asking the Most High to increase your faith. Increase your wisdom. Increase your self-control, your temperament. It says, in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Because if you're in a pilgrim state of mind, right? If you're in a mind to where you're not attached to anything on this earth, like how Lot had to be, right? If you're in a mindset to where anything that is tangible can be taken away, therefore you're not, your treasure is not there, your heart isn't there, then when all these things do start to get taken away, it's not going to really affect you. You're not going to be all distraught, and your spirit is not going to be broken up because of it. But a lot of people, they're so invested in this world, even though this world is fading away, even though it's temporary, that when they start to lose certain things of this world, they're going to lose their mind. They're going to lose their faith, right? And they don't even have faith in in the Lord, but they're going to lose their ability to stay stable-minded. And then that's when they're going to go down to Egypt for help. That's when they're going to bug the hell out. And then that's when they're going to end up getting caught in that snare, in that trap. All right. So, that's pretty much it. Lord willing, this was edifying and exhorting unto the elect, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. And until next time, Shalom.